Can you believe it? In some regions of Cameroon, a son can marry his own mother. Sounds insane, right? But this is a real tradition that has existed for centuries. Why does this happen? Stay with us to uncover the full story. Nestled on the Gulf of Guinea, Cameroon is often called Africa in miniature, and for good reason. This extraordinary country packs the entire continent's diversity into one nation. From the moment you arrive, you're greeted with a tapestry of environments that seem almost impossible to exist in a single country. In the south, you'll find dense, humid rainforests teeming with gorillas, chimpanzees, and over 300 other mammal species. Travel northward, and the landscape transforms dramatically into the vast savannas of Waza National Park, where elephants, lions, and giraffes roam freely. Continue north, and you'll reach the edges of the Sahel, where semi-arid plains stretch toward Lake Chad. To the west, the land rises into the stunning Cameroonian highlands, a region of breathtaking beauty with rolling hills, crater lakes, and the magnificent Mount Cameroon, West Africa's highest peak and one of the continent's most active volcanoes, standing at an impressive 4,040 meters, 13,255 feet. But Cameroon's diversity isn't just geographical. With over 250 ethnic groups, speaking more than 270 languages and dialects, Cameroon boasts one of Africa's richest cultural heritages. Each group maintains unique traditions, from the forest-dwelling Baka Pygmies, with their intimate knowledge of medicinal plants, to the semi-nomadic Fulani cattle herders of the north, easily recognized by their distinctive facial scarification and intricate jewelry. And yes, among these diverse traditions, you'll find some practices that might raise eyebrows for outsiders, including the custom that brought many of you to this video: sons symbolically marrying their mothers in certain Western tribes. But before we dive into that, let's explore more of what makes Cameroon truly special. Cameroon's fascinating complexity is partly due to its unique colonial history. Unlike most African nations that were colonized by a single European power, Cameroon experienced three different colonial rulers: Germany, Britain, and France. Originally colonized by Germany in 1884, Cameroon was later divided between Britain and France after World War I. This split created an unusual situation where Western regions developed under British influence, while the larger eastern portion followed French systems. The result? Modern Cameroon is one of the few truly bilingual African nations, with both English and French as official languages. This colonial division still shapes Cameroon today, with the Anglophone crisis being one of Africa's lesser-known but significant conflicts. The English-speaking regions have struggled for greater autonomy from the majority French-speaking government, a political tension that highlights the complex legacy of European imperialism. Even the name Cameroon reveals its colonial past, derived from Rio dos Camarões, or River of Prawns, named by Portuguese explorers in the 15th century who were amazed by the abundance of shrimp and crayfish in the Wouri River. Now, let's address the shocking custom that probably caught your attention in the title. In certain tribes in Western Cameroon, particularly among the Bamileke and Bamum peoples, there exists a practice sometimes described as sons marrying their mothers. But before your imagination runs wild, let's clarify what this actually means. When the male head of a household dies, his wealth, land, and property traditionally pass to his eldest son, In these societies, there's a significant concern that if the widow remarries outside the family, valuable family assets could be lost to another lineage. To prevent this, a symbolic ceremonial marriage may take place between the eldest son and his mother. This is not a marriage in the romantic or physical sense that Western audiences might assume. Instead, it's a legal and spiritual arrangement designed to 1. Keep family wealth intact within the bloodline. 2. Ensure the widow remains protected and provided for. 3. Maintain the deceased father's lineage and honor his memory. Preserve the family's social standing in the community. This custom is becoming increasingly rare as Western influences, Christianity, Islam, and government regulations reshape traditional practices. Many younger Cameroonians openly reject these traditions, viewing them as outdated relics of the past. It's worth noting that similar practices of keeping wealth within family lines through unconventional marriage arrangements have existed throughout human history, from royal families in ancient Egypt to aristocratic lineages as in medieval Europe. Marriage customs across Cameroon are as diverse as its ethnic landscape, reflecting the country's cultural richness. In many communities, marriage isn't just a union between two individuals, but an alliance between extended families and even entire communities. The bride price tradition remains widespread throughout Cameroon, but varies significantly between ethnic groups. Among the Bamileke, one of the country's largest ethnic groups, bride price can be substantial, involving cash payments, livestock, palm wine, and various symbolic gifts. The amount often reflects the bride's education level, with university-educated women commanding higher bride prices, sometimes creating an interesting dynamic where families invest in their daughters' education, partly as a future financial strategy. In northern Cameroon, among predominantly Muslim communities, marriages are often arranged at a young age, though government efforts have helped reduce child marriage rates in recent decades. In these regions, polygamy remains common, with wealthy men sometimes having 4 wives in accordance with Islamic tradition. The Kiri peoples of the northern mountains, who resisted both Islamic and Christian conversion, maintain some of the country's most ancient marriage rituals. Young men must prove their farming abilities and physical strength before being considered eligible for marriage. Kurdi women traditionally wear elaborate lip plates and facial tattoos that signify their marital status and family lineage, images of traditional Kurdi women with lip plates. Among the Bakweri people near Mount Cameroon, marriage traditionally includes a fascinating ritual. The groom must collect water from a special forest spring at midnight while avoiding obstacles set by the bride's male relatives. A symbolic challenge to prove his determination and worthiness. Cameroon's cultural calendar is packed with spectacular festivals that showcase the nation's artistic wealth. The Ngondo Festival of the coastal Sawa people features elaborate boat races, spiritual ceremonies, connecting with water spirits, and displays of traditional medicine. In the grassfield regions, the biennial Niem Niem Festival commemorates resistance against German colonizers through intricate mask dances and reenactments. The most visually striking might be the Bamileke funeral celebrations, where elaborately carved masks and costumes transform dancers into spiritual beings connecting the worlds of the living and the dead. Art connoisseurs around the world prize Cameroonian craftsmanship, particularly the intricate beadwork of royal Bamum artifacts and the distinctive carved masks of the Bamalik. The grassfields kingdoms have produced some of Africa's most sophisticated artistic traditions, with royal sculptors creating beaded thrones, masks, and ceremonial objects that now grace the world's finest museums. Music and dance form the heartbeat of Cameroonian cultural life. The country gave the world makossa and bikutsi rhythms that have influenced global music scenes. Legendary artists like Manu Dibango, whose soul makossa pioneered disco sounds, and Richard Bona, considered one of the world's greatest bass players, showcase Cameroon's musical genius. Beyond its cultural richness, Cameroon offers some of Africa's most underrated natural wonders. Let's explore sites that should be on every adventure traveler's bucket list. Lobe Waterfalls, the only place in Africa where waterfalls plunge directly into the ocean, creating a mesmerizing meeting of fresh and salt water. Local legends claim these falls are home to powerful spirits who control fishing fortunes. Korup National Park, one of Africa's oldest and most biodiverse rainforests, home to over 1,000 plant species, 400 bird species, and rare primates like the drill, one of Africa's most endangered mammals. Scientists believe some trees here may be over 1,000 years old. Lake Nyos, known as the Exploding Lake, this crater lake released a cloud of carbon dioxide in 1986 that tragically killed 1,746 people and 3,500 livestock. Today, it's closely monitored and provides a sobering reminder of nature's unpredictable power. Mandara Mountains, home to the spectacular fairy landscapes of northern Cameroon, where ancient volcanic plugs create surreal rock formations. The indigenous Kapsiki people build extraordinary mud homes that seem to grow organically from the mountainsides. Dia Faunal Reserve. This UNESCO World Heritage Site protects one of the largest and best-preserved rainforests in Africa, home to forest elephants, western lowland gorillas, and incredible biodiversity. Cameroon's cuisine deserves special attention as one of Africa's most diverse and flavorful. The country's geographical variety creates distinct culinary regions. In coastal areas, seafood dominates, particularly in dishes like mbongo tchobi, a spicy black soup made with forest herbs and fish. The signature dish, ndolé, combines bitter leaves with ground peanuts, creating a nutritious stew usually served with prawns or beef. It's considered the national dish and appears at every important celebration. In the northern regions influenced by Sahel traditions, meals center around millet and sorghum, often prepared as thick porridges served with spicy vegetable or occasional meat sauces. The Fulani pastoralists are known for their dairy-based cuisine, including fermented milk products similar to yogurt. The Western Highlands boast rich agricultural traditions, where dishes like achu, a thick yellow paste made from pounded cocoyams, served with an intensely flavored orange-red palm oil soup, take center stage at important ceremonies. But perhaps most fascinating is Cameroon's bushmeat tradition. While conservation efforts have restricted endangered species consumption, traditionally hunted meats like cane rat, porcupine, and certain antelope species remain important protein sources in rural areas and specialty restaurants in urban centers. Today's Cameroon is rapidly changing. With over 60% of its 27 million citizens under age 25, the country represents a dynamic blend of ancient traditions and contemporary influences. Major cities like Douala, the economic capital, and Yaoundé, the political center, showcase the contrasts of modern African urban life. Gleaming skyscrapers and luxury malls stand alongside vibrant markets where traditional medicine practitioners offer remedies passed down through generations. The tension between tradition and modernity plays out daily across Cameroonian society. While practices like symbolic son-mother marriages are fading, other traditions like elaborate funeral celebrations and community-based justice systems remain strong even in urban areas. The government has implemented laws protecting women's rights, including the criminalization of forced marriages and female genital mutilation, which was practiced in some northern communities. However, the enforcement of these laws remains challenging in remote areas where traditional authorities still wield significant influence. For a relatively small nation, Cameroon has made remarkably outsized contributions to global culture. The country's football, soccer prowess is legendary. The national team, affectionately known as the Indomitable Lions, became the first African team to reach the World Cup quarterfinals in 1990, changing perceptions of African football forever. Stars like Roger Milla and Samuel Eto'o have become global icons. Beyond sports, Cameroonians have excelled internationally in numerous fields. Dr. Rose Gunnar Fomban Leke pioneered crucial malaria research, developing vaccines that have saved countless lives across Africa. Literary giant Mongo Betty's novels critiquing colonialism remain foundational texts in post-colonial studies worldwide. Even in popular culture, Cameroon's influence stretches far. Fashion designer Imane Aissi broke barriers as one of the first sub-Saharan African designers to join Paris's exclusive haute couture calendar, bringing Cameroon's textile traditions to global runways. As we've explored throughout this journey, Cameroon reminds us that human societies develop infinitely varied ways of solving universal challenges, protecting family assets, honoring ancestors, building community bonds, and preserving cultural identity. Practices like symbolic mother-son marriages might initially shock outsiders, but they emerged within specific historical and economic contexts. Similar to how European royalty once used strategic marriages to preserve kingdoms, these customs served practical purposes within their original framework. As Cameroon continues evolving, balancing tradition with modern values remains an ongoing negotiation. Many customs are being reimagined rather than abandoned, finding new expressions that honor cultural roots while embracing contemporary ethics and global connections. Cameroon teaches us that truly understanding another culture requires suspending immediate judgment and seeking the deeper logic and history behind practices different from our own. This doesn't mean accepting all traditions uncritically, but rather approaching cultural differences with curiosity instead of condemnation. What do you think? Are these traditions clever adaptations to specific challenges or practices better left in the past? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey through Cameroon's fascinating contrasts, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more explorations of the world's most intriguing cultures and hidden wonders. See you on our next adventure.